Biggest ADP fallers. Najee Harris is down, but barely. One spot to 36th overall, which I know none of you would do. But I want to bring up the report from Dale Lally of Steelers.com, who tried to shoot down the idea that Jaylen Warren will surpass Najee Harris as the lead back. He says it's simply not true. Najee Harris is the number one. Warren is the third down back. Both will be valuable, but Warren isn't pushing past Harris. What are your thoughts on that from Steelers.com?
I don't think that's inaccurate at all. I don't think we've been approaching it that way. Maybe Dave has, but I don't want to speak for him. But I think for me, I've always expected Najee to be the first and second down guy. Just maybe seeing what happened in Dallas, just from a younger perspective, because Zeke Elliott was getting older, but that the second guy is going to look better than the first guy and makes a lot more explosive plays. But still, Najee's going to have that goal line role. Najee's still going to be somewhat involved in the passing game, just maybe not as much as in years, as certainly his rookie season, but maybe not even as much as last year. I think we forget just how good he was at the end of the season last year, and again, it's how you're judging it. Does he look explosive? No. Was he playing through a foot injury? Maybe. Even then, I'm saying, coming back from the foot injury. So it's just a matter of, was drafting Najee or still drafting Najee in the third round, does that make sense? And the answer is no. So it's just a matter of how early you want to get in on Najee and how early do you want to get in on Jaylen Warren. And that the second part of that could be the mistake. Are we running Jaylen Warren up the flagpole too quickly? Because if he doesn't take over the job, then it's just going to have to be an injury before he becomes someone that you could start with confidence.
Yeah. Well, what's the difference right now between him and Antonio Gibson?
Warren?
Yeah.
I think Gibson has a bigger role.
So what I think is really interesting about this Steelers.com, because I can understand that the guy on Steelers.com, he doesn't feel, he's being honest, I think. I mean, I read a lot of the tweets after it. I feel like what he said, he meant that Jaylen Warren's not pushing Najee Harris. If he secretly felt, like a lot of people feel, Najee's just not that good, and he'll lose the job to Jaylen Warren. I think fantasy managers, not everyone, but there's a faction that feels that way, right? So if he felt that way, I don't think he would say that. But,
He gave a lot of examples of previous times that this has been the case, from Jerome Bettis on up.
But what I was trying to say was he said Jaylen Warren is a third down back. And what really was most interesting to me was that was not the usage in the preseason. The Steelers are one of the teams that played their starters a lot in the preseason, and it just wasn't like that. I mean, they were basically just switching off. They were playing in the same role, essentially. It wasn't like he just came in on third down or in obvious passing situations. So that is what really scared me off of Najee Harris and made me encouraged by Warren, because I felt like he was going to have a different role than just being the third down back, which is not what Steelers.com said. They said he is the third down back.
I don't disagree with what you're saying, but I also remember in the preseason, they probably want to see what Warren looks like in case they need him. Whether it's
look good, Jamie.
You look great. No, listen.
Yeah.
Again, go back to 2 years ago when you watch Zeke and you watch Tony Pollard. It's a great comparison. Zeke was still getting all this work, and we kept saying we need more power, we need more power. And then last year you started to see it a little bit more, but it was still okay. Zeke's in the way, Zeke's in the way, Zeke's in the way. I feel like it's going to be a lot of that, just not the same production. I don't think you're going to get the type of production from both guys. But I think to me the preseason stuff is always what are they trying to accomplish? And I think trying to accomplish is if Jaylen Warren is really better, do we play him? But B, in case Najee's not there, can he be the guy on first and second down? And that's to me what they were trying to accomplish.
Okay. So don't take him in the third round. Long story short. Other fallers, Mike Evans is down 5 spots to 81st overall, and Marquise Brown is down 4 spots to 83rd overall. So Mike Evans and Marquise Brown now just outside the top 80, and they are behind Brandon Ayuk and Mike Williams. They're still ahead of Jahan Dotson, which I know is surprising. They're still ahead of Jordan Addison, and they're still ahead of Zay Flowers. This is Mike Evans and Marquise Brown. Heath, do you think Marquise Brown and Mike Evans around 80th overall is okay?
I think ADP-wise, Evans is in a pretty good spot. Amongst wide receivers, there are still several going behind him that I would rather draft before him. But even in PPR leagues, receivers going a little bit later on our side ADP than they are on others. Marquise Brown's another one of these guys I have a hard time getting excited about drafting. I just think you're going to have to be patient with him and hope that Kyler comes back. And maybe the pass offense won't be as bad as I think, but I view Brown as more like a number 4 wide receiver that I'm not drafting probably until round 8. Evans is fine in that round 7, round 6 even range, but I understand why people are scared of Baker Mayfield too.